explaining things, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods has.
Yeah, I wonder if that looks like somebody's explaining it for him.
I wonder if he has a set yet.
Yeah.
You know, Tiger's golf balls.
You should send him one.
No,
I'm sure
expect that his wife probably already has.
Well, this is just it's right. This is just the first edition.
This is the first edition. Okay.
They've just been made.
Right.
No. His wife has a set of Tiger's balls.
No, a set of Tiger's balls.
Yes. Well.
Okay.
You need the John Edwards set to go with that.
No, we need a John Edwards set. Though there's only one though, apparently. Anyway, Tiger's got to beat all the hell. We have an audience making comments here.
Yes. If you guys are going to make a comment, we're going to have to throw a mic on you and turn you on.
You're trying to do something serious because you want to talk about the Hancock.
Oh, we'll
Wildlife
get there
Foundation.
eventually.
Okay, we still have to decide whether we're going to go down to the press box to the comedy night tonight.
Well, that sounds like a darn good idea. I don't know. I mean, it starts at 9:30, and we're going to be out of here by just after 9. So, or maybe a little earlier, but that's okay.
Okay. So, Richard, I've been talking for 2 hours now.
You've been talking for 2 hours.
What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. Is there a subject that might come up?
We could just start talking about golf balls now.
I want to talk about Hancock Wildlife Foundation.
That's what he's broadcasting.
Okay, so talk about Hancock Wildlife.
Though we do have another question.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Well, this is good.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, here we go. I have heard that you can claim a deduction if you pay your kids for work. My wife paid her 15-year-old son about $400 for helping her at the office last year. This was honest, legit work and many hours put in. However, I'm not sure whether we'd entered that on our 1040 to use as a deduction. So this is obviously a U.S. tax return.
Well, if you've got kids that are legitimately working and you are, again, I'm going to presume that this person is self-employed and has either a Schedule C to file or a subchapter-esque tax return. And if that's the case, you would put the wages to the kids under wages or subcontract or something and make it a deduction.
So my wife paid her 15-year-old son about $400 for helping her at the office. So the question here is was it her office?
It's got to be.
Or was she empowered to hire anybody for a company and happened to hire her son?
If she's paying a substitute employee to look after her stuff, Canadian tax return and U.S. tax return she can deduct.
That's right. And my understanding is basically if it's taxable in her son's hands, even though, I mean, it's covered by his deductions, his standard deduction in this case, but if it's claimed as taxable income, then it's a deduction to those who pay it.
That's correct.
So you have to identify the person by social insurance number or social security number to whom it was paid, and it has to be done correctly.
Yep. Real simple. You can pay 5 or 6 kids if you need to.
So this was through her employer, and she paid it out of her own. She paid it out of her own paycheck.
Well, then it's not deductible.
Then it's not.
Well, no, it is if she is empowered to hire somebody as a substitute. Like in Canada, it's
if she paid it out of her own paycheck.
Yep. If she pays a substitute employee. Let's pretend that I hire you to do something, and that's your job.
Yep.
And that's your job. You're responsible for it. But you're an employee.
Yep.
And you want to take a couple of weeks off extra.
There you go. Okay,
and
now I understand.
You can
okay,
hire a
I can hire as long as it's okay with my employer. That's fine.
Your place, you can do
I
that.
could hire somebody to take my place,
and that becomes a deduction.
Now,
for you.
when I do that, I really want to hang on to that person because I've been trying to clone myself for the last 30 years. If I actually can find somebody who's going to do my job for me for 2 weeks,
well,
I'd be so happy.
I'm working on cloning 2 of my sons right now. We got Mitchell and Peter. We're actively working in the U.S. Canadian tax business right now.
Clone on the range.
Yep. And it was interesting because Mitchell was doing a tax return today for somebody who was being a client.
I'm sorry, are we breaking into comedy? You didn't know this was a comedy show, did you?
The birth of comedy.
The birth of comedy. Well, the press club tonight, the corner of Renfrew and East Hastings is having its first comedy night tonight. So I think we should all go. Pardon? Yeah, we should go over there tonight.
I think we should all go.
Everybody here is old enough to drink, aren't they? Yes.
Good idea.
So making a long story short, yes, he should be able to make that as a claim, provided the employer agrees that that's what they're supposed to be doing, paying a substitute employee. Because if otherwise, if it was necessary, then the employer should pay.
Yes. Yes. So if it was additional work as opposed to substitute work.
Yeah.
Right.
But you can pay somebody to take to substitute for you for a day. That's a legitimate deduction.
I think that's great. Wonderful.
Okay. Back to Hancock.
Hancock Wildlife Foundation.
You're the new executive director. You're charged with raising money, so that the people that may not know about it, Hancock is David Hancock, my old friend for years and years and years, is found out about a fellow with a camera in an eagle's nest, and was so fascinated because he'd studied eagles for years and years, 25 years.
He'd been giving lectures, and I mean, it was amazing the number of people. Back when I was in high school, I watched David and
his cougar.
And his cougar down at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre. I was in, I believe, grade 12.
Yep.
So I'm a little younger than he is.
Well, if you remember the cougar, the first time I met David Hancock was at a book authors party at South Council Press by Jack James and Diana Douglas. Diana Douglas, they separated, and Diana ended up with the company. And I met David and fell instantly in like with him. And we arranged to meet the next day. Yep. And because he was going out looking for something. I'm trying to remember what he was looking for something, and we went out looking. We've gone out looking for so many different things.
Ptarmigan and grouse.
No, but that's up in Alaska.
That's up in Alaska.
No. We were looking, and one time we went out looking for a barge to be able to float home on. I can't remember what we were looking for this particular time. Anyway, I arranged to meet him at the Westview Shopping Center.
Yes.
And I'm sort of standing there outside the liquor store, and up pulls this red Mazda pickup truck. And I opened the door and went to get in, and it was a beautiful red, shiny pickup truck. And it had a sheet of plywood on top of a bunch of bare springs for a seat. And the truck was immaculate. I mean, not like David's.
Not like his current vehicle.
Not like the Suburban.
Not like the Suburban,
yes, the Suburban is something. Yes. Anyway,
you have to see it to believe it.
And I get in, and I'm sitting on this piece of plywood, and I said, "There's an explanation, right?" And he says, "Well, yeah." He said, because it was a brand new truck.
Yeah.
And he was over at the Brentwood Shopping Center on Vancouver Island, because he lived in Brentwood and Vancouver Island at the time, was his wife at the time, Susan. And he had his pet cougar with him. And when he left the cougar in the truck and went in shopping, the cougar tore all the upholstery off the seat.
Well, now, here's a good one, because, you know, if it had been a dog, somebody would have broken the window and let the dog out because,
and called the RCMP.
But who would do that for a cougar?
Well, you could just see.
Oh, yeah.
He came out, apparently, when he came out, there's all these people standing around this car.
Nobody willing to break the window.
And it's just fluff.
Don't let the cougar out.
All the upholstery fluff is just flying through the air, and the cougar is. I mean, I wouldn't even know if I wanted. It was like that hippopotamus.
We were watching the hippopotamus on your
Would you want to open the door if your cougar's tearing up all the upholstery and you can't see anything?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's David Hancock.
That's David Hancock. Well, you see, David Hancock, for the last 50 years or so, has been, he's been a biologist, but unlike a lot of biologists, David has been self-funding.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, just so that Nick and Andy over there, we have crazy friends too.
Yes, Mitchell has you.
You know how the young kids think that they've done it all, and they don't know what the old folks have done. Yes.
Anyway.